exploit a strength in one of these heroes, I'm sure he would pull it out here, and surprise these guys no problem. Like, he was one of the guys that, would just pull out Rhyme. Like, nobody's playing Rhyme. Like, he would just pull it out and go ahead and use it to great success. So, looking forward to see what GankStars we're going to draft up here.
Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that one thing we will not be seeing from Leon is Samuel, because he only just came out. Even though we're playing on the live patch, he's been disabled for Evil 8 play because
Why'd you do
teams
that?
haven't had a chance. Why'd I do that? I did not do that.
You didn't make the executive decision?
Shoot the messenger, man.
God, I tease you, Jackson.
All right, Cerberus, they're going to be locking in that Lyra first things first. I think this is a very solid pick for them. Iraqi can play it. I'm assuming Leon could probably play it also. Even Aya. I think any of these guys could play it.
Yeah.
Avalanche, they're answering with Catherine, something that has historically been very good into the Lyra. What would you like to see it paired with?
Well, honestly, you could go a lot of different directions right now. Adagio is one of the stronger picks. It's in the pool. Looks like that's what they're highlighted on, and they may move forward with. A lot of the times, you would see like your Sky come out right now, but the fact that you have these big picks in here, that's why they go away from it. And also, like the Roams being picked out, it was very important that they grabbed the Catherine here. She deals with Lyra, and also your Roams are getting picked out of the pool. Scarf is the hero that's been played on both of these teams. Both Waldemar and Iraqi have been playing this as of recent to a pretty high level.
This does give over Adagio plus Lyra to Cerberus, which is pretty scary. I mean, at least on the previous patch, 1.20, they were pretty much two of the strongest heroes in the meta. I do think it's worth noting, though, that on Avalanche, quite frequently I'd be a bit scared to pick Scarf into Lyra, because if they portal onto me, it's hard to get away. But with a Catherine backing you up, maybe that silence comes out. Maybe the stun hits whoever wants to dive on the back line.
Imagine Goop goes down and someone gets stunned up in and around that area. Like, it's so hard for you to get out of that situation. Ringo going to be the last pick here coming out. And, Avalanche, they're a fun team. We've seen Kentusik run this the CP Ringo out of the jungle quite a bit. Let's see if he differs up in this game.
Sort of tanky person diving on their back line. Yeah. That's going to make life difficult for the Scarf. In any case, we'll see how things pan out. We got Game 1 of GankStars Cerberus up against Snow Avalanche. Let's hand it on over to our shoutcasters, Cyber Owl and Tasty Bacon.
All right, here we go. Series number 2 on the day. It is GankStars Cerberus and Snow Avalanche. A lot of implications in the standings based on this one, because these are the two teams that are 2nd and 3rd currently. And Snow Avalanche, if they get 4 points on the week, they will guarantee themselves being the number 2 seed going into the live championships. But obviously GankStars Cerberus, they're going to be looking to take the series win and perhaps then take that 2nd place spot away from Snow Avalanche. So this is an important matchup between these two teams.
Yeah, unlike match number 1, Team Secret, they already had first place absolutely secured for them. So these two teams, I feel like, are going to be playing their hearts out this series to really make something happen. We do see Waldemar getting chased down by Leon and Aeon, and he's going to eat a bit of that forward barrage, but he's going to be able to get out of dodge to safety. A bit of a sigil there to heal up Aeon as they see GankStars just going back towards the jungle. Iraqi's getting caught with that goop as well as the Spitfire. Just going to heal himself back up, but a bit of a trade between Waldemar and Iraqi Zoro. Just going to leave them even in the lane.
And I like the start from Waldemar, understanding that he is a Scarf. He's very easy to gank, so he went ahead and started with boots in his inventory. Of course, he had to pop him early, which means he is going to be vulnerable for the next couple of minutes if a gank attempt does come through from GankStars. But for now, just going to be GankStars and Snow having a little bit of damage trade down in the jungle. Waldemar is still very far forward considering his current position, but for his teammates coming up, Iraqi Zoro will be eating a good amount of damage, but not enough to get a kill. Here comes the rest of GankStars.
The sigil is thrown down by Leon. Aeon is going to try and return some damage with that forward barrage, but it's not going to do anything here for GankStars, as Leon is just going to eat a bit of damage there from the Ringo, but he's going to walk away perfectly fine on this Lyra. Just going to be harassing Waldemar as he tries to farm in the lane. But with Leon and Iraqi Zoro sitting here in his face, he can't really do too much, especially only having boots, and not even boots that he can use right now.
And well, with those boots just going to be sitting there on cooldown, it means Waldemar just has to take this harassment. He's going to be so close to going down, but here comes Ryu Ren to get that stun onto Leon underneath the turret and make sure that Waldemar is able to recall out to safety. That was incredibly close to being our first kill of the game.
And Leon nearly stopping Ryu Ren's recall there, and he's going to be walking right into Kentisik, and it's not going to be enough to take him down, though, as he's just going to be harassing him as he tries to get away. But I have to say, GankStars looking all right here in the early game, forcing very early backs from Waldemar as well as Ryuren. And we do see Aeon just waiting there in the wings. He does get seen by that scout trap, or that... Oh, we do actually see Ryuren getting caught there with that forward block. There's the Suri Strike as well as a basic attack from Leon, securing the kill. First kill of the game going over to GankStars. As now Kentisik going to be trying to get away from under the turret, away from Leon and Araki Zoro, as they're trying to take down Waldemar here under his own turret. They're landing a bit of damage onto him. He has the Gift of Fire onto him as well, but we do see Leon walking towards the back part of Snow Avalanche's jungle. They're going to be finding Kentisik, but Ryuren is now back from the base. Araki Zoro is going to get taken down by Waldemar in the lane. He did get caught by the goop and was slowed down enough for Waldemar just to rain vengeance upon him and really take him down with some nice Spitfires. And Snow Avalanche get at least one return kill here, but First Blood did go over to GankStars.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a Weapon Sky coming out from Aeon because Araki Zoro will be running this Crystal Adagio, but look at the damage. Even with the Weapon Sky, Forward Barrage still does quite a bit of work as they force Kentusik and Ryuren out of the lane. Kentusik just barely keeping himself alive as he recalls back to base. A lot of vision being put down, but being popped immediately by the side of GankStars, so Ryuren not going to be too happy about all those scout traps going to waste. For now, just going to be the jungle getting stolen once more by Leon and Aeon. Let's see if they can get a kill here. They find Ryuren and they don't get the jungle camps or their lives, as GankStars Cerberus find a big advantage now off this first couple minutes.
Yeah, GankStars looking very strong right now. Waldemar just going to be eating a bit of harass here from Araki Zoro, who's trying to keep the wave as far away from his own turret as possible to really keep crushing Waldemar under his own turret. And with that happening, it leaves a lot of room for Leon and Aeon to just roam into the jungle of Snow Avalanche and really just try picking them apart from the inside out. And it goes to show, Aeon was able to pick up a nice double kill for himself. And he's playing Sky, and now this Weapon Sky is really going to start taking off with Kentisik really not being able to do all that much. Waldemar getting caught here in the lane, getting bursted down. That kill goes over to Leon. And the Death Buff did go down just to zone him away from his own turret, keeping him away from any safety whatsoever. And Ryuren and Kentisik not even around to try and help him out. Kentisik does get seen by that scout... by the ward from Leon, but we do see Aeon chasing him down, uses the Suri Strike, one more basic attack, is going to secure the kill for GankStars, 5-1 in kills right now. Meanwhile, in the lane, we do see Araki Zoro getting chased down by Ryu and gets caught with the Relentless Pursuit. Is he going to get taken down? The goop is going, he does have the Dragon's Breath channeling as well, and that's going to be one kill going over to Snow Avalanche onto Waldemar, but here is Leon just to return some damage onto Ryuren. But we do see in the bottom part of the jungle, Aeon just taking away the jungle of Snow Avalanche. 5 kills to 2 in favor of GankStars right now. And I'd have to say they're looking fairly strong.
Yeah, GankStars definitely making the more aggressive plays and the more aggressive rotations currently, picking up those 5 kills for them. There was at least one answered by Waldemar, picking up the kill onto Araki Zoro up in the lane, but this is a good start for GankStars currently. Obviously, we've seen just how strong Adagio can get later on in the game. Of course, everyone knows how strong a Scarf can get late in the game as well, so that's going to be a very important battle as we get further and further in on this one. And I think a lot of it will end up coming down to these roamers, you know, the Catherine and the Lyra. It's not something that you don't really have a whole lot of emphasis on. It's not the most flashy of plays. Well, except maybe Lyra, she's a little bit flashier, but especially someone like Catherine, you know, being able to activate your activated items and using your abilities at the exact right time, it's such an overlooked skill, I think, in all of Vainglory, really. And so that's where I'm going to be keeping a lot of my focus on, will be those activated items, you know, the fountains, the crucibles, things like that, and seeing who can get better activations. But right now, a big death from above, and that's a lot of damage being eaten by Snow.
And Ryuren going to be the first one to fall on the side of Snow Avalanche, but there's a Dragon's Breath being channeled in full by Waldemar. He's trying to chase down Aeon, but it's not going to be enough to secure a kill. He's going to get himself to safety with Waldemar. Waldemar sitting very low under his turret right now. He's going to have to be careful for forward barrage just to go ahead and zone out Kentasik. And when Iraqi Zoro does push in this wave, if he's going to be running the risk of getting dove, but Iraqi Zoro just going to be rotating down towards the shop instead. Looks like they're going to start up the gold mine, just waiting for the rest of the team before they start that up, maybe? Just taking away the jungle instead. But GankStars being able to pick up one more kill there for themselves, just going to be walking out there for safety. And I'd have to say they're just trying to play the decisive game here. We take a kill, we go somewhere else. We take a kill, go somewhere else. We don't want to overstay our welcome. But Ryuren looks like he might be doing that exactly right now. He does get slowed down by the Lyra. There is the Suri Strike and Death and forward barrage from Aeon. It's not going to be able to secure a kill onto Ryuren, as Kentasik is there to go ahead and provide him with some backup. But it's going to be the gold mine going over to GankStars, as we did see the Blast Tremor coming out of Ryuren, not able to steal it in time.
Yeah, it was a really nice attempt from Ryuren, but just not quite being successful. Obviously, the steal attempt half times do end up coming down to just a straight up 50-50, and just didn't go his way this time. But now he may be in trouble underneath this turret. Is going to pop that fountain and will be keeping himself safe. Now it's an attempt for Snow to turn this one around, but Spitfire not going to be connecting. Means they're not going to be chasing this kill. There's still a fountain available for Leon. Has been just using those runes to keep himself topped up. And so GankStars again in a favorable position. A lot of work already done to this turret. They get in onto Waldemar. He's eating a ton of damage. With that slow, he's going to be going down.
Yeah, that kill goes over to Leon, as GankStars now trying to push into this first turret, and it's going to get taken down. Snow Avalanche losing their tier 1 turret, not exactly the position they want to be here in the early game, especially with the composition that they have. They don't want to be pushed in. But right now we do see Kentasik eating a bit of damage there from Leon. Ryuren now running back from the base, and we do see that Waldemar has respawned as well. But GankStars really just, like I said before, playing the decisive game where there's, okay, we're all inning on this guy, and then we're going to try and take something else off the map. And they're just going to keep doing that until they're able to get a clean team fight with the composition that they have.
Yeah, well, right now, it's just going to be GankStars again looking for this aggression portal in to start the fight.
And it's going to be Waldemar getting focused down by Aeon. There's a death from above landing onto Ryuren, but he does have his Storm Guard up. The Hellfire Brew did land onto Aeon from Kentasik, but it's not going to do anything. Both sides healing up slightly, but GankStars having the Lyra as well as having the Adagio healing up so quickly. Kentasik going to be the next focus here for GankStars, but they're just going to be healing up under this Lyra sigil. And it's going to be Snow Avalanche trying to return some damage at the very least, but they can't do anything here, as GankStars just kind of throwing their weight around.
Yeah, really just putting pressure on in all the right spots. You touched on it before. A very decisive style from them. They go in, look for a kill, and immediately move towards objectives. And that's why, despite the fact they only have 7 kills, it's only a 5-kill lead, they have a massive gold advantage. 5,000 gold at 11.5 minutes is huge. That's, you know, a big number. I mean, they're going to be able to have these item spike advantages. You can see Waldemar just trying to keep his jungle safe from Aeon. Aeon, though, is going to get a big death from above. This could be bad for Waldemar. He's going to be trying to kite this one around. That's going to have the big Dragon's Breath coming through. But here is Leon, and that is going to be another kill for GankStars.
Yeah, that was pretty unfortunate there. He was able to steal away the back camp, one of the back camps from GankStars. I think the second one got taken by Aeon with a Suri Strike. But with that, that just gives another kill over to GankStars. More gold in their pocket as they go ahead and take the gold mine away as well. And there's just nothing for Ryuren or Kentasik to do in this scenario right now. They can't try risking stealing the gold miner with like a Blast Chamber or a Hellfire Brew, because they run the risk of not having it for the next team fight. That GankStars seem to really just be timing it properly to make sure that if they use something, they're going to be running the gambit of, we're going to destroy them in a team fight afterwards, because they're just going to be lacking in necessary damage, necessary silence, or necessary slows.
Yeah, well, it's going to be just more pressure on the second turret. All 3 members from each side are here for a potential fight. We'll see if anyone tries to try and start it off. Death from above is used just to get a little bit of damage on the turret. Not really all that much coming out of it, as it is that weapons guy. But now a fight may be breaking out.
And the Dragon's Breath was being channeled, but it did get stopped by GankStars. We do see GankStars eating a lot of damage from that forward barrage. It's not going to be enough to take him down, and they're just going to be healing up with that Lyra rather. And Leon is just doing a really fantastic job keeping GankStars alive. Aeon eating a bit of damage there from the turret, but Kentasik going to be able to return some damage onto Leon. And right now, it's at a point where GankStars, they have to pull the trigger at some point. But with Snow Avalanche playing so far back, they're still losing out all of that jungle farm. As you can see, they're just taking away the camps over and over again as they're waiting for those minions to push in. Iraqi Zoro walking right into the face of Waldemar and Ryuren, who gets hit with that death from above. But it's not going to do anything there, as he did use his Storm Guard to keep himself alive and healthy. GankStars yet again just rotating back towards the jungle, making sure that Snow Avalanche just had nothing to take after the fact, and they're just forcing them to stay in the lane.
Yeah, very long and extended siege onto this turret. They're not really getting a lot of work on the turret done, but like you said, they are forcing Snow to have to stay in this lane and making sure that they just take this jungle as it comes up. Now they're going to be moving over towards the middle of the map. I'm kind of surprised they aren't going for this gold mine, as it is going to be getting close to that Kraken spawn. Of course, means there will be no gold miner left at all once that happens. But the problem for GankStars is that they don't really have that hard engage. You can portal in with a Lyra, put down the Bright Bulwark immediately, but going in underneath a turret, not exactly your best bet. So I feel like they need to try and do something like, do this gold mine and work on that, wait for Kraken to respawn, or to spawn, do something to force the side of Snow to have to come to you, so that you can have a fight in the open away from the turret. But right now, they've found an opportunity. There's going to be portal in, there's Bright Bulwark. Can they get the damage they need, though? They're not quite able to.
Yeah, Iraqi Zoro getting caught with the goop, nearly getting taken down. There's the heal coming in from Leon. The Dragon's Breath is being channeled as Ryuren trying to chase down Iraqi Zoro with a relentless pursuit. Is he going to be able to get the kill is the question. Stormguard is active. He nearly takes down Iraqi Zoro, but that's going to be a kill going over to GankStars. But the goop that was burning with that Spitfire does take down Iraqi Zoro in return. Aeon does use Suri Strike as well as a basic attack to secure the kill onto Kentasik. Waldemar going to be the only one alive here for Snow Avalanche, eating a full channel of that forward barrage, taken down to half HP. And GankStars, they lose one member here, but they're able to take two off of it and then go ahead and go right back to what they were doing before, taking away the jungle from Snow Avalanche, denying them even more gold.
And another good fight for the side of GankStars. Iraqi Zoro, unfortunately, kind of giving a kill over as he stepped onto that burning goop, but still a 2-for-1 in favor of GankStars. And now Kraken is available, so that we could see both teams starting to put a little bit more attention on that objective. GankStars obviously have the advantage there, as they already have vision down in the area, but you can see Snow Avalanche, they get an opportunity, they clear out some of it, get some of their own, just trying to get an advantage here. But now another portal in.
And right now, not too much to be said here. There is the death from above landing on right onto Ryuren, and it's going to be Waldemar going to be the first one to fall in this fight. Ryuren going to have Stormguard available. He's not going to survive the forward barrage from Aeon, though, as right now GankStars, they were looking to try and chase down Kentasik, but it's not going to be quick enough on their part. But 2 kills going over to GankStars. This leaves a lot of room for them to go ahead, take the jungle, take that second tier turret, and maybe rotate towards the Kraken if they're able to pick off at least one more member of Snow Avalanche.
And just the ace has been eluding them, but now they're going in deep underneath these turrets. Boy. They dive into the second turret and get the ace, and now that's going to be one turret going down. They're working on the second one. This could be risky because the respawns have come through, but they're still so healthy. That second turret is not going to be standing up for long. There it goes. And so 2 more turrets destroyed by GankStars. That's going to give them an even larger gold lead. And now, again, Kraken has been available for a couple minutes. We could very well see GankStars, oh, never mind, they're going to go for a fight. And if they win this one, they're definitely going to be grabbing Kraken or just ending the game.
And Iraqi Zoro nearly going to get taken down, does keep himself alive with that fountain. Ryuren going to be the next focus here for GankStars, gets taken down with the basic attacks from Iraqi Zoro, followed by that forward barrage of Aeon. And GankStars pick up 2 kills in that fight, 15 kills to 3 right now. They have so much room to go ahead and win this game right now. They can take the Kraken if they choose. They can even push in the minion wave first, so that they can go ahead and have that clashing into the base of Snow Avalanche as they take the Kraken, meaning there's absolutely nothing Snow Avalanche can do to push back against it when it actually starts walking into the lane. Meaning GankStars can keep forcing engages like they have been. It's pretty much portal, bulwark, kill someone. Portal, bulwark, kill someone. Over and over again. And it's been such frequent succession for GankStars, and it's really paying off for them this game.
That has been just winning them this game 100%, 15-3 on the kills. You can see the gold difference is just massive. That's almost an 11,000 gold lead in favor of GankStars Cerberus, with Kraken now pushing her way in down the lane. This could very well be game over in just a minute or two. If they find another portal bulwark kill, it will definitely be the game over for Snow Avalanche. So last ditch efforts here to try and defend. You can see Scarf putting out as much damage as he can onto this Kraken as she makes her way into the base, but the rest of the team from GankStars right behind her, and now we could be seeing the fight break out any minute now, so keep your eyes open.
We just see that first turret getting taken down so quickly. The Dragon's Breath being channeled. They're focusing their damage onto Iraqi Zoro. There's the Bulwark coming out of Leon, and they're trying to return damage onto Waldemar. Meanwhile, we do see Aeon finishing off the turret with the Kraken, and it's going to be Kentasik going to be the first one to fall, and that kill goes over to Iraqi Zoro. Now they're focusing their attention onto Ryuren and Waldemar as they zone them out. The Bane Crystal is going to fall for GankStars Cerberus. That's going to be game one going over to them, and I'd have to say, this team fighting coming out of GankStars this game was absolutely phenomenal and just a joy to watch because of this Lyra pick. And like I mentioned before, it was just Portal, Bulwark thrown down almost immediately, and they're just immediately taking someone down because Kentasik is so squishy alongside Waldemar, and since they didn't have any healing aside from the Fountain of Ryuren, there's not much they can do if they get engaged on like that, despite the fact that there's no real hard engage coming out of GankStars.
Yeah, I mean,
either that or they're going to ban out something else along the lines of your skies or something like that. They take out another roamer and then it puts you in a really tough position. If you want to deny like the Finn away right now, you could do that.
I like the Finn. It's going to be the Scarf in the end, though. I mean, I guess this makes sense. Waldemar has been playing quite a lot of it. And it does leave them potentially two very powerful picks. If Avalanche pick up Lyra here, for example, you get Adagio Finn, you've got a very strong core roam situation there. I don't know if I like the Scarf ban because I think for the reasons that you're going to take it away, Waldemar plays Celeste to an equally high level, and it accomplishes a lot of the same things, like high damage, high range, and that's really why you'd pick that up in the first place. I see where you're coming from. I mean, that said, Avalanche has picked up Adagio first, wanting to deny it from Cerberus. And as a result, unless this is a roam Adagio, we're probably going to see it in the lane, so Waldemar isn't going to get that Celeste. I do think that it could be played in the jungle. We used to see it all the time back in, for example, Winter. And it surprises me a little bit we don't see it at all right now, because I do still think it has its place. But GankStars, they're looking to play the same thing as last game. Don't fix it if it ain't broken.
I mean, look at Finn getting through.
I know, right?
That doesn't happen that often. I mean, Finn is a top pick in both regions right now. And
players are just all salty. Reason. They don't have the skin. I mean, they don't want to play him if they can't look fly.
Give me a Finn skin. Make it rain. If it was up to me, I'd give everybody in chat Finn skins right now. That's why it's not up to me.
Avalanche, they're going to be picking up an Ardent to go with this Adagio. I have mixed feelings about that, but let's see what they round out the comp with. Maybe they can make it happen here. Looks like it could be the Black Feather. All right. First time seeing this in a little while. Did get some changes on 1.21.
I mean, definitely. And this is one of the heroes, he had a little bit of buff last patch. This patch, even more. You're going to see a little bit more base health coming out on him. His CP ratio is going to be up on his perk. And then also, his on-point buffed up just a little bit as well. CP ratio is going to do a little more damage to minions and a little more weapon ratio applied on that as well.
Cerberus, they're going to finalize their draft with this Kroll, something that I know, for example, Leon is very strong on, so maybe we'll see him picking that up. It looks like Aeon with the Black Feather. I'm curious to see if the 121 buffs are going to pan out for them. Let's see who can take this one home. GankStars Cerberus, one win away from moving on to day 2. Avalanche, they need to bring it back. Let's pass it on over to our shoutcasters, Tasty Bacon and CyberOwl.
All right, so very quick downtime between games 1 and 2 because we want to get the action going for all of you watching. Tasty Bacon alongside Cyber we are into game number 2 of this best of 3. GankStars looked very dominant in their game 1 victory over Snow Avalanche, and now we get to see a Black Feather coming out, but very early fighting from GankStars. They very nearly pick up a kill onto Ryuren. Nope, looks like hopefully Cyber will be along shortly, and we are going to be just seeing, however, Waldemar taking a lot of damage up in the lane. The rune, they're not going to get the kill, but the basic attack along with that heroic perk second shot will be enough for Leon to find the first kill in the game just a minute and a half in.
Yeah, that was a really nice pickup there for GankStars. Leon, just with that empowered basic attack, just securing the kill onto Waldemar, and that's really just not the situation you want to be in, especially with Blackfeather early on. They did buff his early game health so that he's as squishy as he used to be, and it's going to help him out, but it's going to be still difficult for two melee heroes in the form of Arden and Blackfeather to really deal with the amount of poke and harass that are going to be coming out of the Lyra as well as the Sky. And I'm just curious to see what's going to happen in team fights later on, with Aeon going in alongside the Lyra, Portal in with From Hell's Heart coming out, just immediate burst damage coming out right there. But Ryuren going to be caught here, gets hit up with that Bulwark. We do see Aeon wanting to come up towards the lane to get onto Waldemar, but Araki Zoro just waiting to go ahead and start something up. There is a Dead Man's Rush and a forward barrage just poking him down a little bit. It's not going to do too much for Snow Avalanche to really just be scared here, but GankStars looking to throw their weight around very early on here, not wanting to allow any opportunity for Snow Avalanche to feel like they're safe.
Well, that's the whole plan here from GankStars. They want to just carry over this momentum that they built in game number 1 and see if they can keep that pressure up here in game 2. Waldemar with this Black Feather, looks like it will be a weapon Black Feather. There were some buffs to Crystal Black Feather. I know a couple people that I know personally have been really liking Crystal Black Feather of late, but I do still think Weapon Black Feather is a little bit more effective. You have a lot more consistent damage when you go in for those assassination attempts, and so we'll see how he does decide to play this one. If he goes a bit more tanky, if he tries to just go full assassination, there's still a lot of options available for Black Feather. But like AJ was saying back on the desk, you did receive some buffs here at 1.21. This is our first time seeing him played in a competitive match since I don't even know when the last time we saw Black Feather was. But I'm really excited to see him back. He is one of my favorite heroes to watch and to play. But he just hasn't really been in a great spot right now. That's going to be very aggressive moves coming up from Aeon on this Krull. Not able to find a kill, but just keeping this pressure up.
Yeah, that Spectral Smite did quite a bit of damage there onto Kentisik, and we do see Araki Zoro getting caught a little bit there. He is going to get healed up by Leon, but Ryuren going to be eating a bit of damage there from the basic attacks of Araki Zoro and Leon. They're just going to be forcing Snow Avalanche to sit back towards their turret. And GankStars, like I mentioned before, they're really just trying to put pressure onto Snow Avalanche right now, especially trying to force this Blackfeather to play on the back foot. The moment that keeps happening, Blackfeather's just going to be losing out in money, losing out in CS, and not being able to participate in the fights as well as he possibly could, especially if he's getting poked down as much as he was before by Araki Zoro and by Leon.
Yeah, well, for now, just going to be aggressive moves into the jungle again from GankStars. Aeon on this Krull, I talked about it in our first series when we saw this Krull, who is now finally available after being globally banned for a few weeks there. And so he's just going to be looking to have a strong early game. You don't necessarily have to win early game hard, you just have to not lose early game. That's exactly what's happening right now. They're getting a lot of damage, so this could be winning the early game for GankStars as they find a second kill, and now chasing down Kentusik with these slows. I don't think they have enough though.
Yeah, Aeon trying to chase down Kentisik, using as much of his movement speed as possible to chase him down. It's not going to be enough to get down enough stacks for a strong Spectral Smite, but GankStars, because of the fact that they were able to secure the kill onto Ryuren there in the middle of that fight, he got caught up with the Bulwark, and he just was slow to oblivion, so there was nothing he can do. Waldemar actually getting caught here, gets hit up with that Spectral Smite. 2 of them actually, gets taken down to about 1/5 of his HP, but he is going to be able to stay alive and towards his turret. Kentusik eating a bit of damage there from Iraqi Zoro's Suri Strike as well as his forward barrage, and he's going to be forced to sit under his turret as well as GankStars rotate towards the jungle and the lower shop of Snow Avalanche. But we do see Aeon in the back part of Snow Avalanche's jungle just taking that away from them, denying them gold in the jungle just like they did last game.
Yeah, well, there is going to be this, again, the early pressure from GankStars as Kentusik tries to make a steal into the GankStars jungle, but Iraqi is just here on the sky to get the damage out onto Kentusik, and he is having some serious trouble. Now with Aeon coming in, I don't think Kentusik's getting out of this one. That's going to be another kill picked up. Jungle goes over to Iraqi so that he can get back into lane with plenty of health and energy under his belt, and it's just, again, another early lead for GankStars Cerberus. Even with the gold lead isn't hugely in their favor, but they do have this kill advantage, which allows them to then have a momentum and a confidence advantage. And now Aeon looking to steal away this jungle. He's going to use that Spectral Smite to make sure that he gets it, but I don't know if that means they're going to be on the back foot for this fight or not. Looks like they are just going to be continuing to steal the jungle. Actually, it's kind of being given to them by Snow.
At the same time that they were getting their jungle taken away, though, in the lane, we did see Waldemar actually getting caught with a death from above from Iraqi Zoro and got taken down to half HP, forced to use pretty much his all his potions to just keep himself alive there. And it really, they probably would have gone for the fight, or at least the contestation, if Waldemar was going to be able to be there at full HP to start a fight up. But since Iraqi Zoro was poking him down at the same time, it really just forced him to make a decision. Do we just give it up, or do we try and force a fight and risk dying? As we can see, we do see Ryuren getting caught there by Aeon. In the backside of the fight, we do see Waldemar jumping in onto Iraqi Zoro. He's caught up with the bulwark. The Suri Strike does miss. He tries to Rose offensive away, but he gets killed by Iraqi Zoro's forward barrage. Ryuren going to be the new focus here for Leon. He's getting chased down by Aeon. The stacks are building up. There's the Spectral Smite coming down. There it is. It's going to be the kill going over to Leon, though, with a basic attack. GankStars pick up 2 more kills for themselves, and it's going to be looking just like game number 1 as GankStars looking to take some very early advantages, and Aeon doing a fantastic job farming in the Snow Avalanche side of the jungle.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it looks just like game number 1 yet. It's not quite as decisive, I'd say, from the side of GankStars, because yes, they're getting the kills, but they aren't really playing quite the same style as game number 1, where they would get a kill and immediately go find objectives. It's just been a lot more pressure oriented, just keeping pressure onto Snow and just trying to deny them the gold, rather than it's not so much about taking all the objectives. It's more just forcing Snow to have to stay in one spot so that they know where they are at all times, and when they want to go for these plays, they can. That's going to be a death from above onto the side of Ryu. Ren hitting him, but he gets a nice gauntlet and an answer for Snow. They finally find themselves their first kill. They should be able to get a second, maybe. No, not quite. Leon still hanging on by a thread.
Yeah, Leon just barely able to dodge out that on point from Waldemar. And right now, Snow Avalanche, with the way that fight went, they pretty much just locked down Leon and Iraqi Zoro Leon and Aeon inside the gauntlet, and there was just nothing they can do to escape it. They don't have anything that can really just allow them to get out of them without getting stunned, and it just left a lot of room for Waldemar to just keep laying down some damage with Rose offensive and on point, that they just lost. They lost one member in the fight. Granted, it's only 1 kill that went over to Snow Avalanche, and that's the only kill that they've gotten in this game, but that's a very important kill for Snow Avalanche to start getting the momentum back in their favor.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is all about the mental aspect and getting the confidence. When you haven't picked up a single kill in the game, you can really start questioning your abilities. You start questioning, was your draft the right draft? Are you playing correctly? So once you get that first kill on the board, it really helps you to build up that confidence and going forward later into the game. But now another fight breaking out in the lane as Aeon tries to make that gank happen, but before with Aeon not throwing out that From Hill's Heart, it's going to have a difficult time locking down a target, but they're going back in once again. They are deep under this turret.
And Ryuren going to be the focus here for Iraqi Zoro. Leon going to be using his Fountain of Renewal. It's not going to be enough to keep him alive, though. Rearman eating quite a bit of damage there from the forward barrage, but GankStars now are fighting a 2v3 here. They're going to have to be careful. From Health Heart goes on to the 10-6. There's the death from above as well. That's going to be the kill going over to GankStars. Now they're focusing their attention onto Waldemar. There's a Suri Strike and a forward barrage. On point lands onto Iraqi Zoro. Gauntlet gets thrown down by Rearman, and Waldemar does get taken down by Iraqi Zoro. Aeon and Rearman going to be the only ones alive here in the lane. We do see Leon running back from the base, and I think Aeon's just waiting for the opportunity to jump in. There is the Dead Man's Rush. He's trying to get the Spectral Smite stacks up. He does get the kill. That's going to be another kill going over to GankStars Cerberus. That's 3 kills in that fight. 3 kills to 8 in favor of GankStars, and they're getting so much gold onto Iraqi Zoro and Aeon.
Yeah, but the gold is still staying even, and that's the problem for GankStars. Despite the fact they've been getting all these kills, they have the 8-3 kill advantage, the gold is still just pretty much dead on even. So you have to give huge credit to Snow Avalanche for keeping their farm up despite these deaths that they've been taking. And off of that last fight, I mean, that looked very good for them. It was, it would have been just an even 2 for 2 if it weren't for the fact that it's a Krull who was able to heal up with that Spectral Smite. But right now, another fight starting up.
And the bulwark goes down. It's not much to be had here. Death from above goes out, but it does miss every member of Snow Avalanche. Iraqi Zoro going to take the portal back to safety. But GankStars now on the back foot here. There is the Sigil healing up Iraqi Zoro as they try to make sure they don't get engaged on by this Arden. His gauntlet is down, though. He's got a lot of room here for Snow Avalanche to actually return and engage. As you can see, constant healing coming out of this Lyra. And right now, GankStars just looking for the opportunity to jump back into the fight. This From Hell's Heart goes out right onto Rearman. He's going to be the focus. The stacks are building up. Is it going to be enough to take it down? Death from above goes down as well. It's not going to be enough to kill him. Now they're focusing their attention onto Waldemar. Rose offensive to get away. Both members of Snow Avalanche are able to get to safety. Kentisik trying to return some damage onto GankStars. That's not going to be enough to actually do anything significant, though. Suri Strike from Iraqi Zoro does quite a bit of damage there to Rearman, who uses his gauntlet to get away. It's not going to stun up any members of GankStars or lock them down. So there's not much for Snow Avalanche to actually do here to try and put GankStars on the back foot. GankStars going to go ahead and rotate back towards the jungle and go ahead and recall to base as well. Go ahead, get their bearings, and go right back into the lane to try and force another fight.
And the difference between these two teams right now, even though that fight did go even, GankStars used all of their abilities offensively, whereas Snow had to use everything defensively. It was a defensive gauntlet, defensive Rose offensive. But it's all very defensive use of these abilities, trying to escape the team fights when those are some great engagement tools, but they aren't able to use them for the engage or to go aggressive just because of the way these fights have been happening. I feel like Snow, they will be able to scale up extremely well. Obviously, with an Adagio, you know that's going to be scaling well. Blackfeather has historically always taken a while to get himself fully ramped up, but it's just become a monster once he does. And Arden, of course, will be looking to just build up a ton of health and defensive items. So they definitely stand a strong chance in this game as long as they can just continue to withstand this early pressure that GankStars are putting on. Using a lot of healing from both sides, Adagio and Lyra both having the ability to heal up their allies, but it is all just pressure on this lane turret coming up from GankStars. They're close to picking up the turret. There's a death from above to start this fight.
And the bulwark did go down as well to try and slow down Waldemar and Rearman. And we did see the death from above already being used. They're focusing their attention onto Kentisik. The Spectral Smite is not going to be enough to kill him. Rearman getting taken so low, gets killed with the forward barrage. And that's going to be one kill going over to GankStars Cerberus, as now they're trying to pressure down this turret. It's so low, they should be able to take this no problem. But Waldemar focusing his attention onto Iraqi Zoro, who's getting healed up by this Lyra, nearly getting taken down. One more Rose offensive. Actually, the on point is going to be the one securing the kill onto Iraqi Zoro, but Waldemar goes down for his troubles. That kill goes over to Leon. They lose a turret, but they get one kill in return. So the morale is still kind of in the middle there. They're trying to get themselves back into this game. They're able to take a couple of things here and there, but they're just trying to figure out the chink in GankStars' armor right now. But it's so hard for them to be able to take down the Krull on top of the Lyra, on top of the constant kiting coming out of the sky. It doesn't leave a lot of room for Snow Avalanche to try and make picks. But when they do, they have the potential to take these fights so long as the Blackfeather stays alive.
Yeah, the key to these fights are going to eventually become Kentusik and Iraqi Zoro. I mean, that's the main sources of damage. Yes, Blackfeather and Kroll can do some solid damage on their own, but they are building primarily tanky for each other, and so they're not going to be doing as much damage as they could if they were going full weapon, but then they would be very easy targets as well. So both teams going to have a big beefy frontliner in the Kroll and the Blackfeather, even though you don't necessarily always normally think of Blackfeather as a big beefy frontliner. That's how he's going to be building. Then you have Arden and Lyra, who are both building just a ton of tank and defensive items. And so you're just left with the Adagio and the Sky as your sources of damage. So now that the Broken Myth is complete for Kentusik, he has been behind Iraqi Zoro in terms of items for most of the game, but now they're going to be fighting a big fight. Gauntlet doesn't really do much of anything.
And the Burst of Judgment did come out as well from Kentusik. Iraqi Zoro trying to return some damage with the forward barrage as Leon and Aeon are trying to chase down Ryuren. He's getting taken solo. There's the Spectral Smite securing the kill onto that Arden. I think Kentusik is having some connectivity issues. However, Waldemar going to be going ahead and recalling back to safety. They're going to be doing the nice guy route on the side of GankStars, letting him stay there alive. And really shows the caliber of the players that we are watching. And looks like the pause is now over. GankStars pushing into that second tier turret of Snow Avalanche. And they're just going to go ahead and walk away, heal up as they are going towards the bottom part of the jungle. Looks like they're going to go ahead and shop, starting up the Kraken on the side of GankStars, knowing that there isn't really much room for Snow Avalanche to actually go ahead and contest it. If they do roam down, they're just going to go ahead and try forcing a fight. And unless they land a perfect gauntlet and are able to take down Iraqi Zoro on that Sky, there's very little that Snow Avalanche would actually be able to do in retaliation. But as you can see, we do see Snow Avalanche just pushing into that first turret, and they're going to now rotate down towards the Kraken. They know it's being taken. It's getting taken so low. Is it going to get taken down before they can respond to it? Yes, it is. That is Iraqi Zoro securing the kill onto the Kraken. The gauntlet gets thrown down, and Waldemar being focused down by Iraqi Zoro. But Waldemar actually returning quite a bit of damage there with those on points. Kentusik is in the back lines, landing a lot of bit of damage, and that's going to be the first adjustment coming down. However, it's going to be Waldemar getting taken down by Iraqi Zoro. Kroll is going to be taking down Kentusik as well. Ryuren is going to be accepting his fate as Aeon takes a double kill for himself. That's going to be the ace going over to GankStars Cerberus. As they have the Kraken pushing in, they have minions that are buffed with the ace buff as well as themselves. This is going to be a really strong push for GankStars Cerberus, if not the game. But that fight was so close. Like you mentioned before, these fights are getting so close. Well, in favor of either side, honestly. But there was just that little bit of damage that Snow Avalanche is lacking that GankStars have right now because they have that early advantage. We do see Waldemar getting caught with that Bulwark, though. The Death Hammer buff does go out behind them to try and zone them towards Aeon and Iraqi Zoro, but we do see Waldemar trying to return some damage as much as possible. Ryuren eating so much damage, they're taken down to 1/3 HP by Iraqi Zoro and Aeon, but it's going to be Iraqi Zoro getting taken down by Kentusik with his basic attacks. The fountain came out too late from Leon, and it's going to be Snow Avalanche able to take down this Kraken as it does secure one more turret for GankStars Cerberus, but they do manage to keep at least one turret alive for themselves as they are now rotating towards the jungle to make chase to Leon and Aeon, knowing that Iraqi Zoro is not going to be alive for 20 seconds.
Yeah, and Iraqi Zoro, we talked about it a couple times. He is the bulk of the GankStars damage, just like Kentusik is the bulk of the damage for the side of Snow Avalanche. So if either of those two go down in a fight, then that's pretty much a team fight over in favor of their opponents. So that's where we need to really watch when these fights happen. You've seen Waldemar constantly trying to just jump onto Iraqi Zoro. Same thing with Aeon, just constantly trying to jump onto Kentusik, and whoever can get that advantage is going to be the one who will almost certainly win the fights. Infusions coming out across the board. Only Leon not having an infusion active at the moment. Doesn't have, he did just pick one up, so that will be 6 infusions on the fold. And Kraken not going to be up for a few minutes, but you can see the side of Snow Avalanche, they're trying to take that minion miner, but they're going to get found by GankStars. They don't want this fight. GankStars do want it, though, as they go jumping on in.
And now they're focusing their attention onto Waldemar, who's jumping right onto Iraqi Zoro, who's caught within the gauntlet. There's not a lot of room here for him to actually output damage. 3 strikes towards Kentisik. Is he going to be able to get at least 1 kill out of this before he gets taken down? He does secure the kill onto Kentisik, but he gets taken down by Waldemar, and it's going to be Waldemar falling as well, this time to Leon. Ryoren going to be trying to run away from Aeon here. However, the stacks for that Spectral Smiter are just going up and up. The Dead Man's Rush as well, and it's going to be the kill going over to Aeon. That's going to be the ace going over to GankStars Cerberus. That's going to be the game as well, as they only have 1 turret left on the side of GankStars, or on the side of Snow Avalanche, to go ahead and defend against GankStars. So this is going to be another 2-0 that we're seeing today, and GankStars looking phenomenal in this series.
Yeah, game 2 is definitely a lot closer than game number 1, although you wouldn't know it from looking at the scoreboard. 17-6 on the kills, but it was a very close, hard-fought game. You really could have gone either way as we got later and later, but it just felt like Snow Avalanche, they needed just another couple of minutes, but you can't sit there and rely on a game going into the 22nd minute before you can finally start turning fights around in your favor. So GankStars, just taking that early advantage and taking those kills, getting that momentum off of the kills they're able to have, it ended up just forcing Snow Avalanche into very predictable positions, and GankStars were able to take complete advantage of it.